But yeah, it was the photos from out on Plum Island were crazy. I've never seen.
Mm.
Apparently it was flooded till, so the road out there was closed from 10 a.m. till like 4:30 p.m. and high tide was at around noonish. And it was just completely gonzo. And then they had all the luckily they had stationed a bunch of emergency vehicles out there, I think, and they were able to get a bunch out with the high water vehicles that they had, and the National Guard was out there. And then I heard that there were still areas where it was flooded even at sunset that night.
And that kind of came out of nowhere. I don't think anybody was expecting that high of a tide.
Yeah.
I don't think so either, especially, yeah, certainly there was a lot of wind pushing it into the river and everything, but yeah, I know they were talking about minor flooding
Yeah,
with
it was
the
more than minor.
yeah, that's a lot more.
All that melted snow too. That was well,
Yeah,
good.
and nowhere to go.
Yeah.
I get high water mark pictures pretty well from Cashman Park to downtown, almost the entire way. So
Yeah.
if anybody ever needs them,
Oh, thank you. Where do you get those pictures from?
I took them.
Oh, you took them. Okay.
I took them. Just walked down
Yeah.
rapidly from
Yeah.
Cashman.
Yeah. Yeah. Well,
Hmm.
we went down to Cashman. You couldn't walk. You couldn't get to Cashman. You had to walk
Right.
on Merrimack. Yeah.
Yeah.
Crazy.
New normal.
The new normal, yeah.
Yeah, those pictures that I took down by National Grid, I had some boots on it. There was a foot of water on the trail.
So that was next to the yacht club there.
Yeah,
Yeah, it was a bit of a wake up call. Because I think, like you said, we weren't really even expecting it to be that bad.
Yeah, because the state didn't even being on the damage assessment team, the state never even sent anything out saying, can you go look for flooding,
Mhm.
which is kind of amazing.
Right. Well, and the artichoke breached.
What's that?
The lower artichoke dam breached.
It did.
Yep, it did. I'll send you guys a picture of it tomorrow. And the project that we permitted for them to do that emergency sort of elevation where they put the stones and they're going to do the sandbags on top, that's supposed to start construction next week.
Oh,
Yeah,
But
I definitely want to see those pictures because the last time it might have happened was a Mother's Day storm.
oh, it definitely happened. I'll send you the photo that I have, but it's remains to be seen like how far they were saying that it didn't reach the intake. I don't know how they make that determination. They must have, I don't know. But apparently it didn't reach the intake.
so that
Good.
the dam down at Curzon Mill must have been flowing upstream rather quite a bit.
Say, yeah. Interesting.
Julie, is it Daniel Sweeney who's looking for a continuance tonight?
Yes, it's 152 Northern Boulevard is looking for the continuance.
Okay.
Yeah. They will be ready for the next meeting. Just needed to put some documents together.
Did they take that project through the planning board? Is that?
They did. So they didn't have to go to the planning board, but they did get approval from the zoning administrator and building commissioner. Took a look at what we pointed out, or you all, pulled out of that appraisal and saw about the added square footage in the basement, and they addressed that with the building commissioner and with the zoning administrator and got things fixed, adjusted, taken care of, and it's all set with them. So it should be all set for conservation as well. They just need to put the paperwork together that shows you, what they've done to make those changes.
All right, we'll start in a minute or so, or 30 seconds or so. All right, I got 6:45. Let's bring this meeting to order. This is the Newburyport Conservation Commission. The January 16th, 2024 Conservation Commission meeting. This meeting is being recorded and it is taking place on the Zoom platform. Our first item are the approval of the meeting minutes from January 2nd. Does anybody have any changes or comments?
Motion to approve?
Second,
All right, roll call. Steve Moore,
Yes.
Bill Mullen,
Yes.
David Vine,
yes.
and I vote yes. All right. Julie, do we have any Plum Island updates?
Well, the only Plum Island updates other than what we were just discussing with regard to the flooding that took place over the weekend is that there will be an MRBA meeting held on Friday, February 2nd at 10 a.m. at PETA Hall. So if anyone's interested in attending that, we don't have the agenda yet, so I can't tell you what will be discussed, but my guess is that it will have a lot to do with the storm damage at Salisbury Beach, as well as any storm damage that we are going to be documenting on Plum Island. Maybe an update on Army Corps issues, but I don't think that we have anything new from them until later in the spring.
Okay. All right then. On to request for determination. Daniel Sweeney, 152 Northern Boulevard. They have requested a continuance to our next meeting on, where are we?
February 6th.
February 6th.
Yep.
Need a motion?
Motion to continue to February 6th?
Seconded.
All right, roll call. Steve Moore,
Yes.
David Vine,
Yes.
Carol Wagon,
Yes.
Bill Mullen,
Yes.
and I vote yes. All right, the second one is Kevin Dunn, 3 O Street, request for certificate of compliance.
Yes. Okay. So here we have, Kevin Dunn is here. I'm going to promote him to a panelist so he can represent the project, or answer any questions that you might have. But I'll just give you a quick reminder that here's a photo of the house. Pre-construction, you might all remember, we did a site visit out here at one point, and these were the project plans. Essentially, the renovation was all within the same footprint, except for an extension of the deck. And this was the original project plan. The deck was to remain in stairs, and then they were going to extend a walkway out this way and a new deck and stairs on the front. This is the as-built plan, which you can see there were some small changes. They had to extend the deck a little bit further in this This is the northerly direction. I'm gonna bring up the western deck was extended 6 feet to the south, sorry, to accommodate safer stair egress. Eastern deck stairs reconfigured to an L shape due to Mass Building Code requirements, and raised AC units and platforms were added to the south side of the building. So that's all reflected on this as-built plan here. So again, the deck extension, actually, this is the deck extension for the safe egress from the stairs. These are the AC units, and this is the change in the configuration of the stairs. And I do have some photos as well of the finished. Let me just do let me see if I can share the photos. Hold on a sec. Okay, can you all see this picture now?
Yes.
Yeah.
Okay. All right, so there's one photo. Hold on a sec. This is the new stairs, I guess at the rear of, no, this is at the front of the house, right? This is the side view.
The view didn't change, Julia.
Yeah. Oh, it didn't? Oh, I have to
No.
do a new share.
No.
I have to say sorry. Okay. This is a side view. Now we've got this. These are the AC units, and let's see here. This is the. Oh, I already looked at the side view. Sorry about that. That's it. So those are the photos. In any case, Kevin, would you like to say anything about the project? At this point?
Yeah, turn on your mic if you want to, Kevin.
There I am, sorry.
Yeah.
All pretty straightforward. We had to take a couple of decks off. The deck along the back was too big based upon the math, so we reduced that. We went out and planted a substantial amount of seagrass all around the perimeter of the job. We really didn't get too involved with any impact on anything beyond the existing foundation. The decks were the only real issue that we brought those back in within reason. We did need to take up 2 spots to prop up the ACs. We wanted them above water, and we don't need to talk about why. Beyond that, it was pretty straightforward. We tried to follow all the recommendations by the letter, so I hope there's no objection.
Anybody got anything?
I'll make a motion to issue the certificate of compliance.
Second,
All right, roll call, Steve Moore,
Yes.
David Vine,
Yes.
Carol Wagon,
yes.
Bill Mullen,
Yes.
and I'll vote yes. All right, thank you.
I will be installing extra sump pumps, though.
Oh no, did you all get flooded?
No, we were fine. Well, God forbid, our neighbors had a really awful time of it.
Oh.
Mhm.
Yeah, well, be safe out there, and some pumps are always a good idea.
Oh, yeah. Well, thank you all, and we appreciate it.
All
Thank
right,
you.
thank you.
Bye.
Bye-bye.
Okay, can I get a motion to open the public hearings?
So moved.
Second.
Oh, it's good stereo. All right, then, roll call, Steve Moore,
Yes.
David Vine,
Yes.
Carol Wagon,
Yes.
Bill Mullen,
Yes.
and I vote yes. First item is Meredith Moses, 8 Jefferson Court, notice of intent.
Okay, I'm going to move over Evan. Joel, and Meredith to be panelists so they can answer questions about the project. All right. So I've got the documents, you've got the notice of intent and your revised plans. I don't know, Evan or Joel or Meredith, do you want to just start off by giving an overview of the project for the commission and anyone else listening?
Absolutely. So for the record, Evan Venderen of DeRose Environmental. I am here to represent the Lubke family for their proposed project at 8 Jefferson Court. The project involves an addition to the single family house. The addition is located on the street side of the property.
You want me to pull up the plan?
Yeah, I can share my screen too if that's
Sure.
here, Julia.
Yep. Do you want to, if you want to share, I'll stop sharing and you can start.
Okay. So before we look at the plans, I thought it would be a better visual if I showed you on this pictometry viewer. So this is the site, 8 Jefferson Court. It's a small dead-end street off Merrimack Street. This is the Merrimack River. There's this BVW bordering vegetated wetland that goes around up to the high water line. And then from this side, it's all coastal bank, which is the man-made seawall. So the project proposes an addition, which will be a garage that's located on the street side of the house. This small entryway will be taken down and then incorporated into the new addition with a new driveway configuration, new walkways down. They're going to take down the existing deck and rebuild a new deck on the back that's a little larger than what's existing. And so I just wanted to show you, for those who weren't at the site walk, just a picture of what the site looks like today. So this is great pictures of the site. And so now I will, can you all see the plan now?
Yep.
Okay, great. So we have the 25-foot no disturbance zone, which is this light blue line. And we have 50-foot resource area line here. And then the 100-foot you can see is all the way out to Jefferson Court. So the entire site is located within buffer zone. We're also completely within the 100-foot riverfront area to the Merrimack River. So this is the addition that's proposed at the front. Slight driveway reconfiguration with pathways down. Pathways will just be placed loose stone with plantings in between. There's this small patio that's existing that's just going to be replaced in kind with new materials. Here's the deck. You can faintly see the existing deck footprint. I'm tracing it now. So it will be expanded to the edge of the house with new stairs down. Beneath the deck is going to be pervious pavers. On this side of the property, there's some debris that they're going to clean up. And we have this nice native planting area that we'll put over here. The existing raised garden beds will be removed and replaced with a natural stone fire pit. So it'll look like it's meant to be there. It's just big boulders placed in a circle. We also have high bush blueberry that we're going to edge the top of the seawall with. It serves to enhance habitat value, a vegetated buffer to the river, as well as a sort of natural safety barrier for their family. We had an arborist come to the site and they recommended 3 trees to be removed. One was a magnolia, we had a flowering crab apple and a white cedar. All were suffering from diseases and injuries that require, therefore recommended removal. So we are planting 3 white cedars in this area to replace those 3 that are being removed. Also up at the top beneath the driveway, they're going to convert to a geothermal system. So they will be drilling some wells up at the front here. But that's pretty much the gist of the project. Thank you all, the commission members and Julia, for attending the site visit with me last week. Happy to answer any questions.
If you recall, I was questioning whether some of the plants were native or not, and so on. So I was pleased to see that one of the hydrangea species was replaced with the blueberries. They're much better wildlife and more pollinator friendly. I guess some of the other things that remain somewhat questionable as to whether they're native, but with replacing them, having all those blueberries would makes me a little more happy. But the 3 remaining hydrangeas, one of them, hydrangea Anemola pilosaris or something like that, is definitely not native. It's native to Korea and Siberia. And it also, from what I read, it's a vine. It's 50 to 70 feet high. So it's where it's placed there by the entrance is a little strange. And it's also toxic to dogs, cats, and horses. And even if humans ingest the leaves, there will be some severe stomachial distress. So you might want to think about replacing that one. I don't know if there's any dogs or cats in the family, but if they chew on those leaves, apparently it's not good for them. So
Thank you for pointing that out. I do know that Frontier Landscape spent a lot of time with the Lovekeys to develop this planting plan. The non-native and hybrid species that you see on this list are all up as far from the resource area as possible, and are not part of the restoration section that's required, or the shrubs along the bank. So we thought because it was part of the more landscaped area, it would be okay to include some of these hybrids and non-native species. Of course, if the commission wants us to reconsider some of them, we'd be happy to as part of the order.
Yeah, the other one, the boxwood, I'm not sure whether all, the subspecies and species of boxwood are the same, but they smell like cat urine.
Cat litter?
Cat urine.
Oh, great.
Maybe they don't all, but the ones that I'm familiar with do.
Yeah.
So that's another thing you might want to think about.
Okay. Thank you.
Other than that, I think I'm happy, although I'm not sure the blueberries are particularly salt tolerant. But
guess we'll find out.
They're on the Massachusetts coastal landscaping sheet that CZM hands around.
Okay,
So
I guess we'll see.
They work for
yeah.
me.
Yeah, in general, I think that this plan represents a whole lot more shrub and in general, just sort of native vegetation and habitat than is currently out there. So hopefully the overall
Yeah,
end
it's an
result will be
improvement.
an improvement, yeah.
Yeah.
How about a DEP number? I don't see one listed.
It's like 1077, is it?
Some
That's a good
people
question,
seem-
because I didn't check the website today.
I
Typically
did.
they're
There
not
is
very
one.
fast. It would be, I think, 1077, so
Pretty sure that's what it
I think the
is.
last one was 1076, so.
And no comments in that?
Let me look.
They do have some comments. Can you still see my screen?
Yep.
I pulled it up
Oh, yeah,
here.
there.
Okay,
So it says applicant should determine function of the coastal bank, either as a sediment source or a barrier. So the coastal bank in this instance is that man-made rock seawall.
Yep. Yep.
We also so it doesn't, it's not a sediment source. It is just a structural barrier. And it says, requests us to demonstrate compliance with applicable performance standards for work within 100 feet from the top of the coastal bank.
mhm,
There isn't really any performance standards for buffer zone to coastal bank, but as we just saw on the plans, we are improving the vegetation. It's all lawn right in up to the coastal bank, so we are improving habitat value.
yeah,
And the only thing is this deck extension that's closer to
yeah,
the bank.
it's sort of an
and-
odd comment, because it's almost as though they just commented based on the DEP form without looking at your plans.
Yeah, so,
So I think that you've addressed those comments already in the plans that you've submitted, so I'm not terribly worried about those.
thank you. Yeah.
At the site visit, though, we talked about replacing the logs on the kind of the boat ramp there, the sidewall.
Yeah, that's a hope for a near future project. We will have to sort some things out with Chapter 91. I reached out to them to see and what they thought about it, and we would have to file a whole new license for all
You're
their water
kidding.
dependent for all their water dependent structures.
Is this the Britton property? Used to be Britton's property?
I'm not sure who used to own it.
Yeah, Bertie Britton used to live here, correct.
Oh, thank you, Joel.
Yeah. So I think I had worked on the seawall a number of years back, and I think there's probably a license for this.
So there was an existing license, but once the property transfers owners, the new owners are required to then get the new license. So
I didn't realize
it was
that.
like an interim license. So they had 1 year to get the new one.
So
I-
if they make any changes, they have to get a new license, or just in general, anytime the site changes hands, they need a new license?
That's what Chapter 91 told me, because the one that we have is just an interim license, which is valid for 1 year.
Huh.
Oh, no wonder why it takes them so long to get anything done at Chapter 91 if they're
know.
dealing with all this.
I
That's
know.
insane.
But this is a really cool property, a unique site with a lot of history with this
Yeah.
boat ramp and so
Yeah, there's a whole series of Chapter 91 licenses with that, I think a marine railway license for the boat ramp you're talking about.
yeah.
Um,
So
Uh.
we have some more communications and work to do, but of course, if any near future plans to fix that seawall will come back before the commission for review and approval.
Sounds good.
The ones with the boat ramp go back a real long time. I mean, those weren't interim ones, so if you did do anything there, you probably, those licenses are all good.
Well, I hope so.
Yeah, I mean,
I'll do some more digging then, because the one that I found, or that the Lupke's sent to me was just an interim license.
Yeah, you check it.
Yeah, that's a good idea.
Okay. Anybody have anything else? I don't.
I'll make a motion to close the public hearing.
Oh, hang on, let me ask the public first.
Oh, sorry.
Anybody from the public have any comments they'd like to make or any questions regarding this project? Please raise your digital hand. All right, seeing no digital hands. I hear a motion to close the public hearing. Do we have a second?
Second.
All right, roll call. Steve Moore,
Yes.
David Vine,
Yes,
Carol Wagon,
Yes.
Bill Mullen,
Yes.
and I vote yes. All right. Thank you.
Thank you very much.
All right, and we will be going right into the orders of conditions right after we close the public hearings.
So
All right,
moved.
okay,
second,
all right, roll call, Steve Moore,
Yes.
David Vine,
yes,
Carol Wagon,
Yes.
Bill Mullen,
Yes.
and I vote yes. All right, orders of conditions. We have one for Meredith Moses, 8 Jefferson Court.
Hmm.
We didn't really
I
have
don't-
any special
Nothing
conditions.
beyond our standard ones, I don't think.
No,
maybe something on the final submittal of the planting plan, if they're gonna change it or anything of that sort.
I could say any changes to the planting plan prior to construction shall, if there are any changes to the planting plan prior to construction, an updated plan shall be provided to the Conservation Commission.
yep. Works for me.
And we
And
might,
there's 2 years monitoring the plants.
yes,
Okay.
yes. Years of monitoring for survival, 75% survival within the resource area, which is
We got anything else to add to that? Not hearing any. Do I hear another
I'll
motion?
make a,
what was the first one that we just said? Why does it just went into one ear and went out the other?
Oh, the planting plan.
Oh, the planting plan, yeah, revise any revisions, okay.
I'll make a motion to issue the order of conditions.
Second.
Okay, roll call, Steve Moore,
Yes.
David Vine,
Yes,
Carol Wagon,
Yes.
Bill Mullen,
Yes.
and I vote yes. All right. One other thing. Oh, Julie, you wanna let them know what your procedure is?
Yeah, so let's see who's still on here. Oh, all of you. So Evan and Joel, I'll put together this order conditions and I will send it out. Usually I send it to the applicant, which is the property owner. But Evan, if you want to be the one to record it, or if you want me to send it directly to you, I can do it either way. It will also be uploaded onto the OpenGov website. And so you'll be able to get a copy of it there. So either way.
Excellent. I can just get the copy from OpenGov if they want us to record
Yep.
it. We do that online, but thank
Great.
you very much.
Sounds good.
Have a good night.
You
All
too.
right, thank you.
Great.
One other thing, during our resiliency meeting the other day, Julie mentioned the desire for more aerial photos and the possibility of maybe us getting a drone. And Julie is interested in getting trained on such drone. So I don't know if I have no idea how much a decent drone costs. I don't think
I don't
it's
either.
really a ton of money, but I'm fairly sure we could afford it in some training sessions.
I can look into it and let you guys know what that would involve. I honestly don't have the faintest idea what it would involve or what type of drone we should be looking into. And I do think that the planning office would also be interested in utilizing it. So, oh, Andy's here.
Oh, Andy Port wants to say something about that.
Andy.
Thank you. I just happened to have time after another meeting that ended earlier. So thank you. No, I definitely support Julie and the commission and the office being able to use that, not just with respect to changing conditions on Plum Island, but any area needed. John Eric White, the city engineer, is using that right now as a prior engineer who unfortunately left. Was doing quite a bit. So I definitely support the city having access to that, and the commission for various different areas of the city would be very helpful to be able to document, current conditions.
Mm-hmm. Okay. Yeah, Julie, if you can see what folks who know what they're doing purchase for such a thing, and
yeah,
give us
it would
some
be really
numbers.
great to use. I mean, for times like this when we want to go out and take a look at what's happening on Plum Island with regard to flooding, but also just looking at properties and their historical changes. And I'm sure the planning office could use it as well. And I'm happy to learn how to do that. So I'll let you guys know when I get a little bit more information on cost. And
Yeah, and it'd probably be useful for documenting inland flooding too, if watching water go racing across the street or something. So,
Yep.
all right.
Sounds good.
Anybody else? What? Go ahead. Steve.
Yeah, Julie, you want to send some of those pictures I sent you to the National Grid or
Yeah,
whomever?
yeah. Oh, yes, I will do that. Sorry, do on that today.
After seeing those pictures, I can't even, it doesn't seem to me like it even makes sense for us to require that they plant something, because anything they plant is probably going to be flooded.
Well, if they plant something that's salt tolerant, I mean, that was an unusual flood. That's not going to happen. Well, I hope it isn't
No.
going to happen too
At
often.
least not now, but maybe in a few years. But
But even if they want to put a valve of some sort in the culvert, that'll solve the problem maybe 90% of the time. But
Mhm.
I'm sure the soil there is saturated with salt, and it apparently is going to be flooded occasionally.
Mhm.
Oh,
And
Yeah.
any vegetation that we can add in that area will help with just basic resilience in terms of slowing down flowing floodwaters and dissipating any wave energy. That's a pretty high velocity flood
Yeah.
zone right there.
I mean, there's a fairly large cedar tree there which gets flooded even on a normal high tide. So I'm not sure it would survive further down in the pool there, but it might.
Right. And Steve, actually, I got your email today and I wanted to mention, apparently National Grid was out there on Saturday.
Oh, they were putting
Yes,
sandbags around their buildings.
exactly. So I think they've seen what's going on out there. I don't think it was probably the same group of people who are on the task of figuring out what to
Right.
plant in that low area, but I think we can be safe in knowing that.
Well, the majority of the water was coming around the end of the seawall down by the Coast Guard station.
Yeah.
And there was a bunch coming from the American Yacht Club too. But,
Yeah.
there was a
Curious as to
definite.
how their berm was working. Berm that we permitted.
Yeah, I don't know that they ever built that, did they?
They did build the berm.
Yeah, they did.
Oh,
Yeah.
well, it wasn't totally
Yeah.
effective.
No. Maybe we need to find out a little bit more about what happened at the National
Yeah.
Grid site. But I can talk in the office and see if anybody knows of any additional detail on that.
One thing that ought to help this is if they grade the area back to where it was when this all started. The idea is that the excavation of all that stone, putting the stone in, then taking it out, I think it just created this little lake that doesn't help anything either. I mean, if they before they did this, the grade, they weren't catching water over there.
Right.
Right.
So if they graded it back, things should work better.
Maybe. And then added a flap for the valve.
Yeah. There's also the guy, Gary McAllister from GZA mentioned that there was a kind of a pipe that was part of this whole thing that they didn't know where it came from, and there's some suspect that that was coming from the yacht club, but I don't know what we do about that.
Wow, well, that could certainly be contributing some water.
Well, yeah, but he said they directed it to flow into the river, so it's not flowing into that pool.
Yeah, they captured it, and did they say it went into the river or it went?
I thought that's what he said, but
Yeah, I don't recall. I don't know what we do about it anyway. I mean, this is a whole study if we wanted to try to figure out
Yeah.
where it's coming
Yeah,
from.
I think what I'll do is I'll take your photos, Steve. I will send them to our contacts at National Grid through BSC and say, hey, heard you were out there. I know that they intended to go out on Friday regardless to take a look at the high tide on Friday. So I can find out what their thoughts on that were. And then additionally, you know, where they want to go from here, given what happened over the course of the rest of the weekend.
Okay. All right. Do we have anything else?
Can I ask a question? I've been thinking about this with all this flooding everywhere. Whatever happened to the project to try to build up the dam by the treatment plant to keep
That's a
the
great-
salt water from going into
Great
the
question. You mean at the artichoke, at the
Yeah.
reservoir?
yeah.
Yeah, we permitted that project, right? So they actually, I've been talking with John Eric White and their engineers recently because they were about to get started on construction of that. They've got all the stone, it was been delivered. They were ready to sort of create that slope that they could put the sandbags on top of. And literally we have a site visit planned for next week as a pre-construction site visit. So it's happening. It just was like a little too late. Because the
okay.
dam did breach during the storm.
Oh, it did.
It did.
Oh,
Yep.
shame.
And I'll send you all the photo that I have of that.
What can they do about the water supply? Probably nothing.
Apparently, according to John Eric, the I don't know, the water from the Merrimack never reached the intake valve within the lower artichoke. I don't know how they made that call, that made that determination that it didn't reach it, but it didn't reach it. I don't know if they adjusted the flow within the artichoke to let more water out so that it wouldn't back up any further or what they did. But I know they were out there sampling, and I know that the determination was made that it didn't reach the intake, but it did breach the dam.
Yeah.
And very clearly breached. So
I suspect that most of that water was fresh water, salt water, because it would have had to go over the dam downstream and mix with the fresh water.
yeah,
So it wouldn't have been full salinity water.
but it wouldn't have been clean either.
True.
Well, has the money been allocated to do that project?
Yeah, they're ready to go. They got a
Oh, okay.
contractor. Yeah.
Okay, thank you. Just kept thinking about it during that storm thinking.
Yeah, your mind was
Well, yeah,
not.
if you
Floods
had
everywhere.
if you signed in 2 minutes earlier, Carol, you would have known all this. 'Cause
Oh,
we
I'm
were
sorry.
discussing this. Oh, no,
Sorry.
it's not a problem. It was just kind of funny you brought it up.
Oh. Well, according to my computer, I was on time, but whatever.
Or
No, sorry. Oh, is it? Is yours an Apple?
Yeah.
Yeah, that must have been it.
You drive a Tesla? Yeah.
I do.
of course he
Yeah,
does.
and did you see how many of them their batteries wouldn't charge when it got real cold?
Mhm.
Out
Well,
Really? Midwest
they don't charge as well. No, they don't.
Sorry, we're degrading this conversation.
Still worth it, Joe. Still worth it.
Mm.
Did we
I saw a great
resolve
book-
that grant that Jordy was going after? There was something that.
Yeah, I haven't put together that letter yet. It's not due. Luckily, we have a little bit more time. I will get that letter drafted and send it around. Sorry, that was through the cracks. But yeah, we need a support letter for that one.
Do we want to talk about the March meeting that's on election day?
Oh, yes, we do. Well, I won't be here.
March 5th?
Yeah.
I won't be here either.
Okay,
All right. So why don't we just, it is, yeah, it's a presidential primary and we,
we can't have the meeting. So I'll talk to Diane. We'll cancel that meeting. If there's some applications that are very time sensitive, then we'll have to schedule another meeting. But it could be that we can easily just push things out till the next schedule. So I'll talk to Diane about that tomorrow.
well, and especially now if we're announcing that, folks,
Yeah,
and it's not like we have much in the line of backup, stuff backed up right now. So
yeah.
if they know it's not there, then they can't expect it to happen unless there's some emergency. All right, then.
As part of drone training, I don't know if are there any laws about using them on somebody else's private land? Just
Yeah,
some-
there are
something-
regulations about that, and that's one of the things that we'll take into account as part of the quote unquote training.
Yeah,
It's an evolving field, as you can imagine.
yeah.
Well, you don't have to go over somebody's land. 400 feet in the air, you can get a decent view of somebody else's
Yeah.
property.
That's going to be a very interesting question. Like if there's a violation and you want to get a better look, if someone says, neighbor calls and says, this is happening in my neighbor's backyard, but you can't see it, you can't get on their property, do you send the drone up or is that legal?
I think it's just a question of height to that earlier comment. I think it's just a question of height. You're in
Okay.
the, are we in airspace? Are we in,
Got it.
yeah, it's just a legal case law type thing where there's a certain amount of margin. And if you're outside of that, you'll be fine getting something above that, which is how the planes get it.
Right.
So,
Right.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay. Good to
There-
know.
there might-
We'll look into it.
There might be an FAA license involved too. I'm not sure, but
If once you're up over a certain elevation, maybe, yeah.
yeah.
So I
I
know
don't know.
kids use them as like toys, and they don't all have FAA, licenses.
Most of them
but-
don't even have licenses, so.
But maybe you're right. If we want to go up higher in order to get that kind of photography, we might need some. I know DPS has a drone right now. John Eric went out and used it the other day. It's just that he doesn't want to be responsible for doing that regularly, and I don't know what they use that for, so.
But I'm glad you want to be responsible for it, Julie, so.
Yeah, we'll see. We'll see.
All right, anything else?
Motion to adjourn?
Second,
Oh, wait, I do have one thing. Wait.
We'll table
Um,
that motion.
Sorry. This might not apply to all of you. We're gonna have to go back and look and see who signed this particular certificate of compliance. We got a call from the folks at 100 Hale Street, the UFP, and we just recently gave them their certificate of compliance back in, I believe it was October. And the registry won't accept it because it doesn't have real signatures. Typically, the registry does accept electronic signatures, but because this particular certificate of compliance needs to be recorded with the land court, for whatever reason, they need to record this at the land court, and the land court doesn't accept them. So you all are gonna have to come in and sign a certificate of compliance, and I'll leave it on the counter. But before I do that, I'll check and see who was there at the meeting, who's required to sign it, and I'll send you out an email, let you know, but this is just a heads up.
Okay.
Okay.
Very good. And we have a second, and we have a motion and a second. Roll call, Steve Moore,
yes.
David Vine,
Yes.
Carol Wagon,
Yes.
Bill Mullen,
Yes.
and I vote yes. Good night, folks.
Good
All right.
night.
See you
Night.
next
Couple
month.
weeks.
Be dry.
Bye.